The British monarchy has weathered countless storms over the centuries, but every so often, a decision emerges that leaves royal watchers asking one simple question: what happens next? This time, all eyes are on King Charles as reports and growing speculation surrounding his long-term plans have reignited debate about the future of Buckingham Palace itself. Could the king be preparing for one of the most symbolic changes of his reign? And if Buckingham Palace is no longer destined to be his primary home, what could that mean for Prince William, Princess Catherine, and the next chapter of the monarchy? Before we begin, remember that royal reporting often combines confirmed announcements with commentary and informed speculation. Until official statements are made by Buckingham Palace, many discussions remain just that, speculation. But when the pieces are placed together, the picture becomes fascinating. For generations, Buckingham Palace has represented the very heart of the British monarchy. Every state banquet, balcony appearance, investiture, and diplomatic reception has reinforced its status as the world's most famous royal residence. Millions of visitors gather outside its gates every year, believing it to be the permanent home of Britain's sovereign. Yet behind the magnificent facade lies a very different reality. King Charles has never shared the same emotional attachment to Buckingham Palace that Queen Elizabeth II appeared to possess. Throughout much of his life as Prince of Wales, Charles made Clarence House his principal London residence. Friends and royal commentators have long described him as someone who preferred homes with a more personal atmosphere rather than the vast ceremonial halls of Buckingham Palace. Even after ascending the throne, numerous royal experts suggested that Charles was unlikely to dramatically alter his personal preferences simply because tradition expected it. That observation has become increasingly relevant. Buckingham Palace has been undergoing one of the largest renovation projects in its history. The extensive modernization program, expected to continue for several more years, has transformed large sections of the palace into an active construction site. Essential electrical systems, plumbing, heating, and structural upgrades have required entire wings to be emptied and restored. This enormous undertaking has naturally limited how comfortably the palace can function as a full-time family residence. Instead, Buckingham Palace has increasingly operated as something closer to a working headquarters, a place for official ceremonies, diplomatic events, and state occasions rather than a continuously occupied royal home. For King Charles, this arrangement may actually align perfectly with his long-standing preferences. Royal observers have repeatedly pointed out that Clarence House offers something Buckingham Palace never truly could: privacy. Unlike the palace's hundreds of rooms, Clarence House provides a quieter environment that many believe better suits Charles's personality and working style. If the king ultimately chooses to continue living primarily at Clarence House even after palace renovations conclude, it would represent less of a dramatic departure and more of a continuation of habits established over decades. Still, symbolism matters enormously within the monarchy. A monarch choosing not to reside full-time inside Buckingham Palace would inevitably spark conversations about modernization, changing traditions, and the future direction of the crown. And that's where Prince William enters the picture. Over the last several years, William's role within the royal family has expanded significantly. Whether representing the king abroad, attending major national ceremonies, leading charitable initiatives, or supporting constitutional duties, the Prince of Wales has steadily become one of the monarchy's most visible and influential figures. Alongside Princess Catherine, William has consistently ranked among the most trusted and popular members of the royal family. Their public engagements often generate enormous attention, while their emphasis on issues such as mental health, homelessness, environmental conservation, and early childhood development has helped shape a modern royal image. Many constitutional experts have noted that Charles has gradually delegated increasing responsibilities to senior working royals as part of his vision for a streamlined monarchy. That strategy naturally places William closer to the center of royal operations. If Buckingham Palace increasingly serves as the monarchy's ceremonial headquarters rather than the king's private residence, it raises an intriguing possibility. Could William eventually become the senior royal most closely associated with the palace itself? Not immediately, of course. As heir to the throne, William continues to reside primarily at Adelaide Cottage with Catherine and their children, valuing a quieter family environment away from central London. But the future always has a way of arriving sooner than expected. As Prince George grows older and royal responsibilities evolve over the coming decades, logistical considerations will inevitably change. Buckingham Palace has always functioned as more than simply a residence. It serves as the administrative heart of the monarchy. Thousands of official meetings, ceremonial preparations, diplomatic receptions, military events, and constitutional responsibilities flow through its offices every single year. Any long-term shift in how the palace is used would naturally shape how future monarchs interact with it. Some royal historians argue that Charles may actually be laying the groundwork for a more flexible model of monarchy. Rather than insisting every sovereign permanently reside inside Buckingham Palace, future kings and queens could potentially view it primarily as a national institution while maintaining private family homes elsewhere. Such an arrangement would reflect modern realities without diminishing the palace's ceremonial importance. Interestingly, this philosophy mirrors several broader themes that have characterized Charles's reign so far. From environmental sustainability to careful financial management, the king has frequently emphasized practical solutions over rigid adherence to tradition for tradition's sake. Maintaining multiple enormous royal residences comes with considerable costs, public scrutiny, and logistical challenges. Finding a balance between preserving heritage and adapting to contemporary expectations has become an increasingly important objective for modern monarchies across Europe. Charles appears acutely aware of that balance. Meanwhile, Prince William has consistently projected an image focused on stability, continuity, and gradual evolution rather than dramatic upheaval. Those close to royal affairs often describe father and son as sharing a common understanding that preserving public trust requires adapting thoughtfully to changing times. That doesn't necessarily mean abandoning centuries-old traditions. Instead, it means distinguishing between traditions that strengthen the institution and practices that may no longer be essential. Buckingham Palace will almost certainly remain the setting for trooping the color, state visits, diplomatic receptions, and countless constitutional ceremonies regardless of who sleeps there at night. Its significance extends far beyond residential arrangements. Still, perception carries extraordinary weight. When people imagine the British monarch, they instinctively picture Buckingham Palace. Therefore, even subtle changes in how the palace functions inevitably attract global attention. And in today's media landscape, those conversations spread with remarkable speed. Some commentators see Charles's reported residential preferences as evidence of a quieter, more efficient monarchy. Others believe the symbolism of a monarch living elsewhere risks weakening one of Britain's most recognizable institutions. Supporters counter that the institution itself rests upon constitutional duty, public service, and national continuity, not merely the location of the sovereign's bedroom. Regardless of where one stands, there is little doubt that King Charles is overseeing one of the most carefully managed transitional periods in recent royal history. Every decision appears designed with one eye on today's responsibilities and another firmly fixed on the future. That future, inevitably, belongs to Prince William. The Prince of Wales continues preparing for responsibilities that grow larger with each passing year, even as he remains focused on supporting his father and raising his young family. Should Charles continue redefining how royal residences are utilized, William may ultimately inherit not just the throne, but a monarchy already adapted to 21st century realities. And perhaps that has been the plan all along. Not a rejection of Buckingham Palace, but a reimagining of its role for generations still to come. Because sometimes the biggest royal stories are not about who leaves a palace. They're about who will one day define its next chapter. But as history has repeatedly shown, the royal family's greatest transformations rarely happen overnight. They unfold through quiet decisions that gradually reshape centuries of tradition. Whether King Charles ultimately makes Buckingham Palace a ceremonial headquarters rather than his permanent home remains to be seen, but one thing is becoming increasingly clear. Prince William's path toward the throne is steadily taking shape. As each new chapter unfolds, the world will be watching every royal move. What do you think? Should Buckingham Palace remain the monarch's full-time residence, Or is it time for a modern approach? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more royal updates.